And welcome back to another episode of Ark Survival Evolved on the Voxel Squad server. Playing some more modded Ark. And I'm looking pretty hairy. I didn't know this was a feature. This is seemingly a feature of Ark, that now I have this growth. My hair is growing. I think there's something in the game that you need scissors for. Like, there's a scissors thing. I think I need to buy them, or I need to make some scissors. They need a little bit of obsidian, though. Obsidian for scissors. Like, obsidian, metal. Metal and flint are kind of understood, because you can sharpen metal, but obsidian? Obsidian for the handle, I guess? Wow, okay. So I've got to get some obsidian to be able to cut my hair, right? But first, before I go off and find some obsidian, which I think Sheridan's got over at his base, I'll probably nick 5 of that, because I'm sure he's got plenty. I want to show you what we are up to at the minute. Right, now, just here, we set up the gate to my base last time out. And as you can see, I've done some foundations over the side there, over the cliff face, looking pretty cool. It's all just foundation at the minute, right? It literally is the first layer of foundation around the base, and I'm building up from the foundations. I just wanted to make sure the foundations looked right against the rock face, and then I can start doing all the lean-tos and things. Well, for a start, this gate is now perfectly aligned with the entire structure. Every foundation slots together in perfect unity. Every block on top of block, everything sits perfectly well together, and this is now kind of central. It looks very central, doesn't it? It looks nice and central. It's a big gate. I haven't replaced these thatch blocks that are at the front here yet, because I haven't decided exactly how I want to do the entranceway, so I've just left those. But let's have a look inside the base. Da, da, da. Okay, so this is the first part that I want to build. This is like the gateway, the entrance, the stables, if you like. Right? So I'll be keeping all of my animals stabled here. The animals that I ride and take out to do certain jobs and things. So, such as Ride 1 and Ride 2, which are these two here. If I can park them, it'll be excellent. Park them. Park you. I'm going to have to do lots of reverse parking to get them into things so they can get out again. I presume there's another way I could do that, but that'll do for now. Oh, hi. Hi, pterodactyl. I also had a bit of a problem when Flyby died, so I managed to get another cool one called Wings. He's lurking around here. We've now got 4 Triceratops. I don't know which ones you've already seen. I can't remember. I think we got Charge and Little Sarah. Since then, Crush and Mother have all joined us. Yeah, well, most of these dinos you can recognise from the last video, I think. But we also have Bluey. It was quite easy to tame once I used all the narcs. I used some quite hefty narcs to keep him tamed. But Bluey is a saber-tooth, a blue myth saber, or tech saber-tooth. Is he a tech saber-tooth? Let's have a little look at him. What's he showing here? Myth saber-tooth, level 201. So not a high level. But I didn't really like riding around on him, because he kind of destroys everything in his path. He's got this great big clubbing tail and all that kind of stuff. I didn't really like him. But as a statue or guard on the base here, it's looking pretty cool. And obviously this this guy, what's his name? Sheeta Blick. I don't know why her name. Is a golden dodo, also worthy of display, but no actual practical use. So yeah, we're working on this idea, right? And also over this side, look, we have a little lean-to blacksmith area where I've been doing most of my building and creating and crafting, and also got my bed laid out and all that kind of stuff. Just generally a little area for me to stay warm and cozy and toasty while I've been building everything up. One thing I've got here then, okay, because this is going to be mostly about building, this series. Mostly about building. I do have a lot of lag right in the doorway here. Like, around this area, I get a lot of lag from something loading in, maybe. It feels like an area close by loads in and something important happens, and it takes up a lot of processing power for that something to happen. But we'll get over that. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 foundations wide as a walkway or stone path up towards the inner entrance to the keep. Okay, And then I've got 3 foundations of thatch on the side, which are going to represent some kind of like stables bedding. Stables bedding, like a straw bedding on the stables, okay? We just need to build the stables in this area now, right? Build them up higher because, well, I didn't want an open air. That wasn't the plan. It wasn't planning to be an open air area. Also, look at this little otter that I picked up. Autopia the otter. I was just wandering around and I found an underwater cave and there was this otter just swimming around and I swam up to it. I was like, how do you get an otter? What is an otter all about? And it just said feed it fish. So I went and spent 20 minutes just feeding it fish and finding fish and feeding fish until it became tamed and then followed me home. Pretty cool looking though. I don't exactly know what an otter does, but we'll find that out as well. If you know, leave a comment down below. I think it probably pearl dives and fetches things for me from the bottom of the ocean. I don't know. We shall find out. I've also installed my grave just in case, right? And it actually looked quite cool, so I might make another one for the other side as well. But that depends if somebody else wants to put their gravestone over on this side in a cemetery so that they can claim stuff when they're at my base, because we've got a few people on the server who are sharing the tribe. And okay, so anyway, let's carry on with the build stuff, right? So the first area, the stables, is what we're going to be working on in today's episode. But I have also laid out this next area. This next area's got the big double doors to allow some big dinos, such as Armour, the Stego, to come in and arrive in this kind of area here. This, well, I left it dirt for a reason, and I'll show you the reason hopefully during this episode. And then surrounded it by 3 blocks of foundations in almost all directions. Can't quite reach over here. We'll have to deal something over here later. 3 blocks all around it. 3 foundations all around it. So that we could then have a warehouse. So around here we'll have lots and lots of storage all the way around it. Okay, that's the plan. This I'm probably going to have some sort of raised platform. A raised wooden platform so you can see the stone underneath it. And then that will go up and over into the next area, because the next area is 1 block higher because of this little rise at this point here, which we can't put foundations on. I'll have to like ramp it up somehow. In this way, this room may end up being a kitchen, so we drop off food and stuff around here and then bring it into the kitchen and cook it all up, make things and stuff, and then we're up a level here onto the next platform up. And the next platform up is quite a large area. This kind of thing's still in the way, but, well, we'll maybe just build around it. Maybe just build around it and build some kind of tower feature on it. Something like that. And then we come out squarely onto this area here. And everything kind of blends in fairly nicely, I like. I like that it all kind of blends into the edges. It goes down into the rock face and all that, just enough to hide it all away. But a lot of that we can't do anything about just yet. We're going to have to do some other stuff first. And building this section is probably like the 3rd stage. Building this section in here will be the next stage. And building some stuff out that way we'll have to do as well. But for today's episode, let's focus on making this work. Right? One last thing before we start placing stuff around is these cool double doors you may have noticed, right? They can be set to automatically open and close behind you. Automatically open and close behind you, which is pretty awesome. I like those. I like those a lot. So I've lined them up with the stairs coming down into the pit here, where we will be emptying dinos out into the warehouse, and down into the stables where we'll be able to collect more dinos. And I've done that on both sides of this little ramp that goes to the doorway, which I kind of like the look of. But around the edges I've built into the wall, so the majority of the walls are like full foundations, as you can see here. Full solid foundations. I've been placing full and solid foundations. If you can't get that, that's full solid foundations all the way around as the wall. But then in this section I've cut out and put in windows so that I can see out from here to see if there's anything flying around attacking or whatever. Yeah, did all this. And I also wanted this kind of like railing so that I could walk around and look into all of the stables, So as these are stabled, I can look into them and maybe access them as well. Just as a thing, just so that there's a little bit of space there, and a lookout for the front door and all that kind of stuff, yeah? But solid foundations all the way around the edge of it, just because that gives us a nice place to set up. So I want to build the walls up higher. Maybe not quite as high as that up there. Maybe I'll slope the roof off from that height. Leave the inside open to the air. Maybe leave the air... Yeah, maybe leave it open to the air. Or maybe just build up the side walls and make some kind of, like, battlement fortifications, right? So, first off, we've got this little table in here that's been really, really good for me. This is the the S+, not the C+ crafting. The S+ crafting table. And in the S+ crafting table, we get all the S+ recipes that I learned, which is basically the same as normal crafting recipes, but they are... the ability in here is to pick things back up again. So, for instance, let's take the foundations, okay? So if I place a foundation down and I've placed it in the wrong place, I'm like, oh no, I've put it in the wrong place. You'd normally smash it, wouldn't you? But these S+ ones allow you to pick it up, which is awesome, right? So that's good. And then it does it with almost every block available, or everything available, including like the ceiling structures and all that kind of stuff. So the first thing I want to set up, the first thing I want to set up is some ladders going up into the battlements for the towers and all that kind of stuff. But I also need to set up a lot of walls. Okay, so during the night, I quickly hobbled together this thing. Right, this is kind of what I'm after. Right, I want a roof over the top of this section. Right, I want a roof section there, and I want to be able to walk around inside the wall along the edges of all the stables, and I want something that can then house the roof of the stables coming down. Now the roof has to be fairly high because I don't want the roof to be like sticking in the horns here, and I don't want to be sitting on top of this. If you see this side has got something of this level, too high. And when we're sitting on a dinosaur, I'm going to have to park Mother again. When we're sitting on a dinosaur, we're poking our heads in. We can't quite do it. Can't quite do it. So I don't want anything that's too small because we've got large dinosaurs. Yeah? So I don't want a small roof. I want epic scale. Now the castles, keeps and fortifications mod has lots of really cool blocks, really cool walls and all that kind of stuff that we can build later on. But I don't want to do that for this basic first bit. This first bit, I want to cover basically like vanilla Ark and get a build of vanilla Ark. And then the next stage will stand out as a more impressive structure this side in here. Building up from the foundations, I will use the castle keep and fortification structures things. But the problem we've got over here, right? So you would come in here, you'd go up the ladder. We'd go up the ladder. Can you get the ladder, please? Thank you. You go up the ladder, and then this is nice, running all straight. This is all good. So I place all this down first, and then start placing the walls. But then I get this: the walls slightly different heights. And that is due to being placed against the ceiling or being placed against the wall below. I'm pretty sure the snap point. There's two snap points. There's the snap point on the ceiling, which would be here. That's the snap point on the ceiling. Yeah, all of these are perfectly level. Snap point on the ceiling. And then there's a snap point on the wall. And then there's a snap point on the ceiling on the wall. So there's two snap points. And getting the exact right snap point all the way across is actually quite difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on placing all of my walls ahead of myself like this. So I'm going to place the wall ahead and then place the ceiling in front of me like this to move on to the next one. Place the wall ahead, place the ceiling in front of me. And so on, all the way round, to try and make sure that I'm clicking the ceiling to wall and not the other way around, right? And I also want to bring it over the top. You see now this is perfectly aligned, whereas those odd few over here are sticky outy. Good job I can pick them back up instead of having to break them. This is a good thing. I'm not particularly keen on needing a window here either. I've got two blocks down and a window on this side, maybe. I suppose I could throw a few windows in this section. I do have a few windows to look out that way. I could always replace them at a later date. And then just work across and do around the whole 2 sides of it to build the whole thing up and bring the wall across as well. Oh look, this is one of the reasons I've kept the warehouse open. I occasionally have deliveries from space. Delivery from space! Yeah, we get these drop zones here. And when I had foundations there, the capsule wouldn't touch the floor, and therefore I couldn't get whatever was in it. So I decided to do this design instead. So I left the air open a little bit so that can land. What I'm going to have to do, of course, is then keep the structure, the overall structure, settled so that there's a hole in the ceiling. Which also means that I can land great big flyers in here and unload great big flyers as well. So overall, pretty good plan. Another couple of things that I'm having to do here is seal in this area around the door, or around the gate frame, should I say, just to try and make it keep looking good. In order to have the wall coming across here, I don't want a gap at this edge here where the wall doesn't quite meet the gate. The gate is perfectly aligned, but I've got to make sure that everything fits in perfectly to make it look good. Look like the gate was part of the wall, not the other way around. And then I've got a problem of bringing the wall across that section there, right? If I put the wall on here, then we've got the same problem as I had on the other side. I'm going to have a little bit of the foundation or the ceiling showing through as we do that. We can hang the wall off like that. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. But that's not how I want it. I want it to be sitting up there nice and flush. So I've got to make it flush. And the only way I'm going to make it flush is by sticking it on this way round. Having it so that it starts from the foundation, goes up a couple of blocks like so. And then because these are S plus ones, I should be able to pick up that one and pick up that one. And those are removed. Now I can't normally place it hanging out like that. I could place another one down below, but I can't place it hanging off there. I can put my platforms there. Put my platforms inside there. That would work. And it's then covered up a little bit better. The edge of the platform, the edge of the ceiling is covered up a little bit better, as you might be able to tell there. Let's get a better view from it actually, because I'm going to be having to do a lot of this to get it right. And you haven't actually seen around this side yet. Like now it's all connected up 3 blocks tall at the minute, and then round here we get through into the side door. I've got a little side door here which leads out down a little stairwell onto a little side platform so I can check it out. And it looks fairly even, doesn't it? It's like 3 blocks below, 3 walls above, 3 walls below, a line of windows. So it's going to look fairly even. I'm going to put some detail work on the outside at some point, just as soon as I figure out what it is. I will put it there. But for right now, I've got to get all the way down here. I'm going to have to take care of removing these, picking all these stone rails up, place them down like so, so we get up to there, and then I can even place one more on top, and then remove these 2 that are down here, like so, and then replace this so that it fits just underneath the lip of the stone, so the stone covers the edge slightly to make the run like that, and then replace the railing that I wanted in here down on this section here. Alright, so build wise I feel like it's getting there, slowly but surely. It's taken a lot of time, especially because of placing all of the blocks to get them all lightly symmetrical. I say lightly symmetrical because there are a few places where I want them to be slightly off. Like, I want it to look mostly symmetrical, but then there's a little bit here on the side that needs a little bit of a work because we had stairs down here. So I've had to change some pieces around so that these stairs down here could fit in, because I couldn't get the full platform going down there, and it needed something going down to that little bit anyway. But as you can see, the walls look pretty solid right now. Pretty solid. And And from this side, they're all up level with that gate right now. So whatever I do now, that gate and this wall all the way into this room is all set and sorted. But out here, of course, the gargantuan behemoth gate is still unsealed in. So I'm thinking about going up and around it next as my next thing. But we've done all these sides now. So all these sides have now got this perfectly lined up little balcony area looking into each of the stables. And I've got to define where the stables are going to be so that I can put roofs on. Now, I've taken all the guys out and put them in there just for now, so they're out the way, so I don't have to mess about. I can move things around without moving dinos around as well. And I also want to make sure that this little corner, where the unsymmetry has been created because of those stairs, I'm also going to have a little area there that doesn't quite match in the same way as this does. So this opens right out to the stairs there, whereas this side's got that sticky outy wall bit. But then we can turn this sticky outy wall bit into a room, a build of some kind that can be all the blacksmith stuff, these basic equipment that I need here. I'm going to learn all these things, right? And I'm just going to go through and I'm going to have a look to see what we've got and start building and selecting and playing around with stuff and seeing what happens. There's a lot of Ingrams to learn and a lot of messing around to do. I didn't really want to use this for this entrance area, but at the same time, I feel like I need to in order to make it look good. The settler settler roofs, they look pretty cool. So I'm going to experiment with that a little bit now and try and figure out if I can do some kind of scaffolding in for the different stable builds and get some of that built up. That's pretty much all of that. Cool. And then there's villager builds, which looks more like a town hall type thing, better for the Great Hall. And then there's keep builds, which we'll be using later on. So I am restricting myself a little bit in this first build to these settler and scaffold type stuff to make it look cool. So the first thing I wanted to try from it was these archways. These archways, you can change the colour of them, which is really cool. I like that. You can change the colour of them any way around you want. Chestnut, very nice, pretty cool looking. Yeah, I like it. But big problem, dinosaur hole. Dinosaur, yeah, not big enough. So these kind of things are not going to fit for here, but at the same point, they will probably fit nicely in here for this section of my build to give me that kind of blacksmith open front type feel to it. Let's see, like there and there, ting ting, and there. Does that work with the rail as well? I think the rail works okay with that. Yeah, that's not too bad. To give me that open frontage of the barn side bit. I like that. And that. Does that also still lend itself? It does lend itself actually, doesn't it? That's not too bad. And then maybe put one more there. Maybe put a wall there so I can hang something on it. Maybe I need to hang stuff on that wall and just have this as an open window in. But that looks like it's a good thing, good start for my blacksmith area. Yeah. Now on the other side, I wanted something that can actually fit a dinosaur, right? And these guys, they take up, let's say, they at least take up 6 foundations. 6 foundations at least. Yeah, just so that you've got space to get in beside them and all that kind of stuff as well. So 6 foundations is quite a ways. Let's work on this side. But can we use these great big arches to do that and have double arches for each? Unfortunately, I can't connect them to anything other than the ground at that point, right? So there is also a pillar that we can place, and how this connects I'm not sure exactly. There maybe? Can I get it higher? It's not that big. Okay, so about there. Connect that there, right? And then try and connect this on top. Does that work? Nope. So I've got to put another pillar on top of that then. And then 6 on top of that. No, it doesn't seem to want to do an archway like that. Okay, okay. Back to the drawing board, I guess, then. Let's figure something else out. Okay, so after much time messing around, much time sorting it all out, getting it all finished, the grand reveal. We're not quite finished, but it does look a lot more like stables now, doesn't it? Check it out. So, I was fiddling around with these castles, keeps and fortifications pieces for ages to figure out how they go together. It was like learning to arc all over again. And I've only just learned how to arc all over again. But the effect that they have is amazing. I'm loving it. Really does look good. There was a bit of an issue that I had with these like ceiling bits, these boards not quite fitting together. You can see there's a little gap between those two there. Whereas between those two, no gap. Between those two, a gap. Between those two, no gap. Like there's just a slight difference of a little bit off each one that meant that they wouldn't line up straight. So if I connected them from this side across, they wouldn't quite connect up and they all looked a little bit off center. So what I ended up having to do was place a pillar in each of the locations I wanted the pillars, which all lined up perfectly first time. And then place one ceiling tile on each, on exactly the same location, like one there, and one there, and then built out. So I connected them to all this one, and then I connected them to the next one, and so on, until left with this simple gap in between the two, which I then resolved by putting in these things, these little like little lean-to things, I think. Yeah, what are they called? Are they gables? I think they're gable ends. Let's have a look. Scaffold gables. Yes, scaffold gables, and these are the settler gables. I just picked it up, didn't I? Yeah, man. Okay, well, this wasn't supposed to take so long just to explain what I'm doing now. But yeah, it wasn't going to fit quite right. Let's turn it around, put it there. And another really cool feature of them is when you select them, you can change the colour of them. And I went with the sweet chestnut for all the woodwork in here because it was a nice kind of contrast for all of that. Nice contrast. And the blacksmiths, I've added some extra bits of the same sort of wall in, some more scaffold pieces. I can't remember what these scaffold pieces are called. A scaffold wall, yeah. Scaffold walls, and changed them and coloured them in a little bit and made it cool looking inside there. So it feels like you're inside this open, breezy, airy blacksmiths. Because, of course, the heat from the blacksmith's coals would need to go somewhere, and nobody would want to be in 4 walls, so less walls the best. Yeah, so that looks pretty good, and it feels like a medieval stables. And then the final piece of the puzzle over here, look, is these little arches. And I put some arches in here and connected them up to the middle in each one, and it just makes that little end bit look have a bit of a reason. Now I didn't change the colour, and I may change the colour. I may change it all to the sweet chestnut as well. But for right now, I quite like having it slightly different colour because the greys of the back wall and the greys of the railings match in with the greys of that and the greys of the ceiling and all that, yeah? And speaking of ceiling, I do have access to all the ceilings. I'm going to go this way and show you because, well, this is the way that I'm working on something else that I want to show you before the end of today's episode. Access to the ceilings is simply, I'm in here. I'm in the ceiling. Here we go. So potentially extra storage. I didn't actually want to use it for storage of any kind, but I might throw a few bits and pieces down up here just to make it look like it's in use. Throw a few doors in the wall here instead of having the wall wide open like it is at the minute. I've kept it wide open because I kept coming up here to rearrange these tiles and try and get them all to fit together properly. I still got this slight little gap in between there, but I couldn't get it to fit any better. Symmetrically, I couldn't get it to fit unless I did them 2 next to each other and a gap. 2 next to each other, a gap. 2 next to each other and a gap. 2 next to each other and a gap to line up perfectly with the pillars, which you couldn't change where they were. So all in all, we've got that done, and I'm quite pleased with that. Wow, it's bright out here. Now, next up, and what I'll be doing while you're not watching, I'm going to be doing this off camera, is finishing off the top here. So we've got the thatched roof, we've got a stone battlements here, right? And I'm putting a wall on the inside so I can still see over the inside. And I'm putting these, what they call battlement. Yeah, the things. Whoa, that's not shifting like in Minecraft. That's not shifting like in Minecraft. The murder holes. Wow, what's that? Oh, dang! It's one of them things. Okay. Good end of episode. Thank you very much. What is it? And why is it attacking me? And does it want some more? And can I kill it with this? Whoa! It's killing me so bad. Okay, let's run this way. Run. And can I get a bandage on? My days, this is not what I planned to have as my outro. But I have got some good speed on it, so I can fairly guarantee that I can outrun it. But can I keep outrunning it? Okay, so what is it? A myth alien wolf, level 105. Caused me so much problems, I've brought some new torpor. Some new torpor slayers. Hey, come on, try it now. Come on. See you. See ya. In your face, fall over. And stay down, you nasty thing. Why was it so aggressive? Well, I suppose it's a wolf. But anyway, let's give it some of that. And some of that. And let's see what happens. Right, well, that is all we got time for today's episode, folks. Yeah, rather strange ending to what was a building episode, but these things happen when you're doing stuff. Yeah, I've got the castle well underway. I shall continue to do some more building and hopefully have a myth alien wolf to guard next to Bluey. Hopefully, at some point, maybe. I'll get the rest of the walls finished and sorted out, and we'll see you in the next episode. Oh yeah, check it out. I'm wearing an otter. I also really need a shave, don't I? So I will sort that out before the next episode as well. I'll go and find some scissors. Until then, though, thank you very much for watching another episode of Ark Survival Evolved Modded. I salute you, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.